Antariyascha bahirvidotatimiram jyotirmayam shashvatam sthanam prapya virajate vinamatam ajnanamunmulayan pashyan vishvamapidamullasatiyo vishvasya pare paraha tasmai Shri Ramanaya loka gurave shokasya hantre namah. Last session when we had in 2019, I explained this verse. I don't know how many of you were there at the time. This is an invocation in Sanskrit on Sri Ramana. Pashyan vishvam apidamullasatiyo vishvasya pare paraha. The one who, even though perceives the world, but yet not affected by that, Pashyan vishvam apidam ullasati, who was exhilaratingly enjoying the world, at the same time, not like us, getting caught into the whirlpool of the world. Such is the Bhagavan Ramana. And he also had helped people who had surrendered to him to come out of this quagmire of Maya. To that, Bhagavan, my salutations. That's what it says. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi had selected some 40 verses in Bhagavad Gita. He considered Bhagavad Gita as Adhyatma Shastra, that which can give us glimpses about our own self, really speaking. Even though it's considered as a teaching between a disciple from a teacher, and the teacher being none other than Parthasarathi, the charioteer, who had led the owner Arjuna into the war. This Bhagavad Gita actually is a picturization of a beautiful concept. In Kathopanishad, it is beautifully explained how human life is. This body is a chariot. All of us are riding a chariot here. This physical body is a chariot. And this, some children is there, child is there somewhere. Okay. So this chariot is being driven by or led by horses, 5 horses. So this physical body is owned by our own soul. Atmanam ratinam vidhi shariram ratamevatu buddhim tu saratim vidhi mana pragrahamevacha indriyani hayan ahuhu vishayan teshu gocharan. The Vishayan, the world is the road, horses are the senses, chariot is the body, owner is the soul, driver is buddhi, intellect. Buddhim tu saratim vidhi. So who is our sarati? If the body is the chariot, ego is, the soul is the owner. We don't have nowadays Sarathi and all. Even the Sarathi is not necessary, auto-driven. But if we understand Buddhi as the Sarathi, Buddhi Rupena Bhagavan Asti. Our own intellect is none other than Bhagavat Swarupam, if we understand it clearly, as Vedanta would put it, reflection of consciousness, Chidabhasa. So this Parthasarathi is none other than the Lord in our own life. The wisdom that we get is the Parthasarathi. That's why in this collection of verses, beginning itself there is a statement as a Mangalacharan. Parthasarathi Rupena Shravayitva Shubham Ginam Parthasya Artiharo Devaha Kripa Murti Padunaha. Parthasarathi Rupena Shravayitva, making Arjuna listen. Arjuna's confusion was about dharma. He was not asking about Atman Brahman. What should I do? But Bhagavan said, more than to know what you should do, what you are. That is what is to be understood first. Shravayitva Shubham Giram. The most auspicious statements that he made to make Arjuna understand that what problem that he is facing is not outside him, it is himself. Our Swami Chinmaya used to say, there are people who have problems and there are people who are problems. Do we have a problem or we are the problem? We should understand. You ask somebody else, definitely they say yes. You are the problem. And until we realize that, we will never be able to come out of it. Did Arjuna really have a problem?
No.
You are saying no, but he said yes. That's why he went and asked Bhagavan, I am unable to understand the purpose of this war. Dharma sammuda chetaha aham. Shadimam prapannam. Please, I am surrendering to you, please instruct me. So the problem that Arjuna had was the indecisiveness. Unable to recognize what is the course of action. What should I do? And this often happens to us as well. Many times we are in the crossroads where we do not know which way to go. One person was driving the car and he saw the crossroad. Then he did not know which side to go. So he went and looked for somebody's help. And there was a small shop was there and he went to that person and said, where does this road go? The person said, I don't know. What about this road? I have never been. He said, you are having a shop here and you do not know where these two roads are going. How are you, how can you guide anybody? He simply asked, where do you want to go? So that person said, I don't know. So he said, I may be an idiot, but you are a fool. Because I only don't know about these two roads. You don't know about what you want to do at all. Who is a greater stupid than you? So in our life, we clearly know what we want to do. If we do not know where we want to go, then how do we decide what road to take? We all only ape others. Whatever others do, we just do it. Our parents did, we are doing it. Neighbors do. Neighbors buy iPhone 13, we buy it. What do we want? What do I want? That is not clear. Therefore, he asks Arjuna, what is exactly what you want out of this? Why are you in this war field? What do you want to achieve? And Arjuna was not clear about what is the final purpose of the entire war itself. What is that he wants? Does he want victory, success? Or he wants Shanti, the peace? Because according to him, if he fights the war, he will kill the people, there is no Shanti. If he wants Shanti, then he need not have to fight the war. Which is the one which I need right now. Bhagavan says, you still fight the war and still get the Shanti also. So they have no confusion about it. In this way, when we understand Vedanta, we think that Vedanta is against or contradictory to the world. What we do out in the world, in everyday life, does not match with what we want to achieve in our life as peace and tranquility. We think that the world is a problem. Bhagavan completely destroyed that concept. The world is not a problem. So therefore, focus on where the problem really lies. In our thinking, the way we think. Many of the youngsters, you ask them, my mother asked the boy, he was about to get to the university. So she asked him, what do you want to take in the university? Meaning, what course you would like to take. So she asked, what you would like to take in the university? He said, you and the fridge. Because he was thinking that, what do I eat there without you? So mind is so unclear about the purpose for which I am going to go ahead. And every time when we have this kind of a confusion, we need some external guidance. So that is how Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, being a Parthasarathi, Shravayitva Shubham Giram, Parthasya Artaharaha. His confusion, his sorrow, shoka and moha, he destroyed. In the same way, Kripa Murtihi, the same Lord who is full of compassion, Naha Padu, may he protect us also. This is the Mangala Charan before the selection of 40 verses. As Karthik said, or Sunita said, 40 verses are there. Selected out of 700. Out of 40, I took only 4. It's difficult to cover all the 40 verses. So, when he was asked, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi was asked, which is the one verse which you choose in whole of Bhagavad Gita, which you consider as the most important? He said, verse number 20 in chapter number 10. Ahamatma gudakesha sarvabhutashayastita ahamadischa madhyamcha bhutanam antayevacha. I am the self. Which is most favorite of Ramana Maharshi. Atma Vichar is the most important thing. So he said, Aham Atma, He Gudakesha. Gudaka Isha, one who has conquered sleep or tiredness. Sarva Bhuta Ashaya Stita. I am there in all of them. Aham Adihi, Madhyam, Antam. And the beginning and the middle and the end of all living beings. This is the most central message of Bhagavad Gita. according to Ramana Maharshi. What does it mean? The entire Bhagavad Gita, how much ever you read, if you forget this point, you really did not get it. If you have not understood this point, you have not really understood what Bhagavan was trying to say all the while. If Atman is forgotten, if one's own self is forgotten, if one's own self is not the center of you, then obviously your mind will be going after everything else. And that's what we see. The irony is, schools don't teach this, universities don't teach this, no professional course will teach this, nobody teaches this in this world. Though that is the most important thing and the most important ignorance also. I was telling in the other satsang, one day I was in somebody's house and that lady was serving me food. And as I was eating the bhiksha, there was somebody else in the kitchen. She had dropped that food, some dish. So I heard that sound. Then I said, "What is that?" She said, No, don't worry about it. No, what is that that's happening there? Some chaos. No, don't worry about it, Swami. But the moment they say, don't worry, I get more curious. You say, you're like your children, you say, don't do that. They will say, why not? So I got very curious. After I finished the food, I went to the kitchen. I said, what is that which fell? So that lady said, we made one more dish, but it didn't have the blessedness to be served to you. It fell. What is that dish? No, forget it, Swamiji. No, I want to know what is that food. Forget it, Swamiji. I looked at her and said, if I have to forget what, I should know what to forget. Isn't that forget it, if you're saying, what should I forget? In the same way, what we have forgotten, we don't know that we forgot. Before you came to understand Ramana Maharshi's teachings or Vedanta, do you know that you are Atman? Thank God, Swamiji, I did not know. No, that very self I am, which I was not told at all, never, by anybody. And when we come to know, we realize how we were living without knowing this. I hope you all have that thought crossing in your mind at some point of time. I've gone through the schooling, I went to the university, I went through all that. During those times also I was living, but without this awareness. Had I known that time itself, my life would have changed much better. Right? So the awareness of I am as an independent of this physical body, etc., was not there at that time. So I was going along with whatever was happening to me, my life, and whatever others were doing, merely aping others and living, imitating everybody around me. So I did not even know what I have forgotten. That is why it is said, Jnanam tu jnapakartham nadu karakartham. Knowledge is not to do something, it is to remember what you have forgotten. Hey, it is there always there. Atma tu satatam praptaha, apraptavat avidyaya. Avidyaya apraptavat tishtati. It is always there, satatam prapta. But it appears to be not there until we are told. Swakanthaparanam yatha. Like your lady who was wearing the necklace and searching all over the place. I am not saying, Shankaracharya says. Even at that time it was happening. So search all over the place. What you have lost, you have not lost it at all. You already have it in your name. So what was already there was not indicated to me, and therefore I was looking for the joy or the happiness all over the place until I realized what I am searching is already here. Then all the external search will end. That's why Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, this mind who is always extrovert, looking for things, looking for happiness, looking for fulfillment, contentment, success. When it is told that it is not outside, indeed, your very nature as a mind itself is questionable. That's why he asked, question the mind itself. Manasam kim margane kriti naiva manasam. That very mind which is extrovert by nature itself is false. Then who am I? Aham Atma. I am the self. Sarva bhutashaya stitaha ekaha. It's not even plural, it is one only. So that transformation of thinking is not only I am the self, there is only one self here. Even though I perceive the many here, names and forms that I come to see all the time, because that is how this physical body, the senses are designed to see only variety. Eyes cannot see the oneness, nose cannot smell the oneness, ears cannot listen to the oneness only. It listens to various sounds. Tongue cannot taste only one taste, but many, because they are designed to be like that. Paranchikani vidranat swayambhuha tasmat parang pashyati na antaratma. Kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshat avrutta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. Upanishad very clearly says the very senses are designed to see variety. And through that sense, those senses, you cannot see the unity at all. I can see red, blue, yellow colors, but can you see them all as one? Eyes cannot do that. Varieties of thoughts are there in my mind. I cannot see the unity in them. Varieties of sensations are felt by my body. I cannot see oneness in them. So when do I and how do I see that oneness? Not by the senses, not by the mind, because they are meant to see variety. So this very self is not perceptible by the senses or the mind. Buddhya dhriti girhitaya atma samstam manakritva. Only with the mind, with the intellect very well tuned to this knowledge, overcoming the false reality of the mind. We have taken our mind too seriously. We have taken our thoughts too seriously. Not only we take our thoughts seriously, we take others' thoughts also very seriously. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, you read the mind? I said, I have trouble with my own. Why should I know your mind or anybody's mind? How seriously we have taken our thoughts. Every day we are thinking that whatever we are thinking in mind is true. How many of you are hungry? Honestly tell me. Yes, somebody raised the hand. Yeah, yes. So slowly, everybody will do. No doubt the body gets hungry, but it comes in the form of a thought, an urge, a demand. Hungry you are really, and then the thought comes, it's okay. How many wants Coke? So eating anything or such a desire, etc., they come to our mind, no doubt, as a thought, but how seriously we take, when we take it seriously, we'll do the action immediately. Some of you will get up now. You go and have a Coke. Why? The thought has come. Now from where did the thought come from? Swamiji, you said it. I might have said Coke, but how many of you had the thought of Coke? Some of you might have had the thought that I don't like Coke. Fine, finished, it's over. It would not stay. Similarly, every thought that passes through our mind, we need not have to consider them as real. The moment we consider that as real, we need to act on it. And that is how the world is functioning, is it not? All of us do whatever we think that we are doing is right, or we need to do that, we have to do it, and thereby the entire world is functioning based upon individuals' thoughts and actions. That's why Bhagavan Ramana said, Chinmaya. What does that mean? Sumneru. Be quiet means not just be silent. Know that the mind is no more. It is not. The thought is not. Even as the thought arises in your mind, falsify it. It's just a mere disturbance in consciousness. You are the pure conscious being. The disturbance in consciousness is arising in the form of a thought wave. And if you realize that, you understand only as a mere temporary disturbance, you can let it go. If you do not understand this, you hold on to it. And the moment you hold on to the thought, it will propel you to action. The person next to you did not take shower, smelling bad, let us say. Not really, but let us say. You feel like slapping that person or going away from that person. But then you think that, do I need to really do it? No. The moment you falsify or discount and deny the thought, you are comfortable. But if the thought continues to repeat again and again and again and again, it takes a moment. Then you have to do it. You become restless. We allow the thought successions to happen. We allow it consciously or unconsciously. Because we are habituated to think like that. Most of our anger, lust or passion or greed or jealousy are all successive thoughts continuously coming to make us engage in that action. If you only ask the first thought itself that question, are you real? Because once it takes a momentum, it's hard to stop. So this way, each one of us have to do our own sadhana within ourselves. It is not something externally to be done in the form of a ritual or a puja or some kind of other upasanas, though they are helpful for us to quieten the mind, but not to conquer the mind. Prana Vikshanam or Pranayama, etc. also suggested by Bhagavan only for laya, na nasha. Prana Bandhanat Linamanasam Eka Chintanat Nashamit. Nasham nagacchati manaha layasthane layagadam punar bhavati na mritam. Na mritam gacchati, na nasham gacchati, layam. Layam means lie down. It just suspended. Mano nasha will take place only when continuously engage in discounting, ignoring. Ignoring in the sense not escaping. Knowing that it is false. Realizing that it is false. Recognizing it is illusion. Because Sat cannot disappear. Asat can never appear actually. It is only a elusive presence. That's why he has selected another verse. Na sato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubayo ravidrushtontaha tu anayo tattvadarshibhihi. Asatah bhavaha na vidyate. Satah na abhavaha vidyate. That which is true can never disappear. That which is untrue can only appear for a short time. Mind. Then our thoughts are temporarily present, and as even we go to a state of dream or sleep, they get suspended. Again to come back next morning. Because there is an apparent continuity, we think it is true. So our sadhana should be to become very attentive about this, alert about this. Swamiji, if we do that, we cannot function in this world. I'm telling you, your efficiency will increase multi times. When you only understand how to use the mind, not how to get used by the mind. Every thought that arises in your mind, you have a choice to take it up and use it if it is loka kalyanartham, if it is helpful to people. And if you find that it is selfish, it is mostly indulging or pleasure only, just leave it. When you keep doing that, it will not come back. And the world by itself is not the one which demands your attention. It is your own intentions, your own desires and vasanas that propels this. Once I was going to India from here, and I landed in Bombay airport. And along with me there was a person who traveled, who happened to be, I got associated with him or acquainted with him during the travel only. Before that I didn't know him. And as soon as you get off from the flight and then you go through the immigration, as you all know probably in Bombay airport, you have to go through an area where all the various goodies are kept. Like your IKEA, you have to go through that. So there is a section of spirituality in bottles. Section. You know what I mean. Liquor. I was going through that. Obviously, I am a teetotaler. I don't have any, and really, I don't. I have no intention to drink. So I walked by. I was talking to him. I walked by. I walked across and then went there. He disappeared. Then I looked back. He was seriously looking into those to buy for his friends or whatever. Now, what is the difference between me and him in terms of that very path that we walked? Where I did not have any thought even to look at them, much less I have any idea or intention to drink that. I walked by without being disturbed, but he could not. So do you think the bottles were responsible for that? Or the content of the bottle? We think so. That is where the problem is. World wants me to do this. It's not true. You have an inclination, a desire, an impression, deep-rooted, that is pushing this. So every thought that arises in your mind, there is a trace of this deep impression sitting there. That is what is making it happen. So the source of those thoughts are not outside. Don't blame the world. And these appearances are there, temporary. Abhava. If by nature it is abhava. Sataha na abhavaha, asataha na bhavaha vidyate. Really, it does not have true presence. Whatever appears and disappears in your mind. But we take it as real and we suffer. Ubayoho antaha drishtaha. Ubayoravi drishtantaha tu anayo tattvadarshibhi. Those who have realized this of the nature of asat and nature of sat, they are not disturbed by this. That's why in Tamil they say Sattu Pochu. Eh? What is Sattu Pochu? It become Asat now. Earlier it was Sat. The body, etc. It looked as though real. Now, that Sat you had, Satyatva you had, Pochu. Meaning gone. It become Asat. And one who lives only by the Asat is called Asad. In Tamil, Asad means stupid. So that is a beautiful verse Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi picked up there. Asato vidyate bhava. Na abhavo vidyate satah. So instead of holding on to the Sat, which is always, we are holding on to the Asat, which is only temporary. That's where Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. He did not say Jagat Mithya, then Brahma Satyam. Why? The order is very clear. Only after knowing Brahman as Sat, then alone you understand the world as Mithya. Don't put the cart before the horse. What we do is, oh, all this world is Maya, Mithya. What is Brahman? I don't know. Having understood the Nityatvam and Satyatvam of the reality of this Brahman alone, from that standpoint alone, you can view the world as Mithya. Otherwise, you will have no clue. For what then? Everything is Mithya, then what am I? What is true here? So when the teacher teaches, first he will talk about Satyatva of Brahman. That's what Bhagavan did first. In the second chapter itself, he established the nature of the self first. Then he spoke about what is that role of the world and what is your role in the world. Why is the connection in the beginning itself? That is first to be established. Brahma Satyam iti jnatva jagat mithya iti vijanati. Then only that is the order is right. That which is everlasting, trikale api abhadita vastu satyam iti jnatva eva jagat mithya asat swarupam janati. And only you know it. The word mithya also to be understood as not asatyam. If it is not at all there, you will have no experience. Is dream true or not? Tell me. Is dream asat or sat? Anybody volunteer? If dream is asat, it's not true at all, then you will have no experience of it. Like horns on my head. How many of you are seeing? We don't need to discuss about something which is not there. So if it is asat chet, if it is already of the nature of unreality, then there is no anubhava of it. If it is sat, if it is real, then you can never leave it. It should be always there. Dream is that which, though experienced, is temporary. And when we wake up only we come to know that. Until then we do not know. When we wake up we come to realize, oh, what I had gone through was not at all true. It is experienced all right, but I have no reality. So therefore, don't deny experience. I am coming to this point very carefully to you. Don't deny the experience of the world and the senses. It is not to be denied. It is there, but don't give reality to it. Eyes will see. Even in a Mahatma who is living in this world, he will see it, he will hear it, he will taste it, he will smell it. Ramana Maharshi, when you look at the way he would sit there, opening the eyes, he's definitely watching, he's not seeing. He knows who is there, who is not there. Has he closed his eyes? Has he withdrawn from the world? Has he went to somewhere else not to be available? No. Pashyan vishwamabidamullasatiyo vishwasya pare paraha. Even as seeing the world. So the experience of the world will continue. Unless one is in deep samadhi where one has withdrawn completely into the self, abiding in it. Of course, then it is not just like in your sleep, you don't see it, experience it. But as he wakes up to this world, the reality of it is questioned, not the experience of it. It is there. The body will still feel the heat and cold. If you put the finger into the fire, it will still be hot. For a Mahatma, it won't be hot. No, it will be hot. But does he make it seriously? He will pursue it? No, he won't. So that is why it is neither satyam nor asatyam, it is mithya. It appears to be there, upon questioning, it will disappear. Satyameva drishyate vicharena adrishyam asatyam bhavati. Avichara krudo bandha vicharena nivartate. Yata drishyate tada nasti. As you see it, it is not there. Just like the blueness of the sky, even though you see it, is it? Don't you see the blue sky?
Yes.
Don't you take a selfie with the blue sky? The blueness you will see. But is it blue really? Sunrise and sunset you see every day. Not every day, but you see. But is it true? Is sun really setting and rising? In the temporary relative aspect of it, yes, it is. And you don't deny it, you experience it when the sun rises, you take a picture of it, you enjoy it, put it in your living room with a beautiful frame. Nothing wrong. But it is only an appearance. So living in this world, don't deny the world, but understand it as a temporary presence. As we call it as relative reality. Not absolute. There are three kinds of realities that we talk about. Pradibhasika satta, vyavaharika satta, and paramarthika satta. Transactional reality, vyavaharika. Perceptual reality, pradibhasika. Absolute reality, paramarthika. And all of us experience this. I mean, the paramarthika of course is not. Absolute reality is still a concept there. So when I dream, nobody else participates in that. And in that dream, whatever I experience is called pradibhasika, perceptual. I experience it through my inner eyes. I see it, inner ear, I hear it, not with these ears. And during that experience, I never question it. Is it not? When you have that experience, you never question it. Upon waking up, you understand its temporariness. And you don't keep that too long in your mind. You do not know what you have experienced or dreamt on 25th March 2001. Most of you are born by that time. But you remember? Unless it is a very dramatic and tragedy, and then you might have noted it in your diary or something. So even though you experienced its reality is not continued by you, within few hours you have forgotten about that. But this perceptual reality, I'll come back to that little later about the extension of it. Transactional reality is that which I see and you also see it, and therefore it looks more real, like this. Right? I am also seeing the same thing which you are also seeing, and therefore we agreed to the same thing. What is the color of the sheet here? We say off-white. Anybody says it is blue? Anybody looks at it as blue? Come on, raise your hand. Then must be you're wearing blue glasses then. So we have accepted a reality which are commonly seen by all of us, experienced by us. Therefore it's called transactional reality. Vyavaharika satta. But again, this transactional reality is also based upon the use of the senses. Only the eyes, which we all have, is able to report about this in the same way. If there is a blind person here, for him this transactional reality is not. Right? So this transactional reality is apparently looks to be so true to us because everybody agrees to it. Just because everybody agrees does not mean it is absolute. This is the question you have to ask. Everybody agrees cannot be true. Everybody agrees the sky to be blue. Is it so? Everybody agrees the sunrise and sunset takes place. Is it true? Science itself denies that. Now, pradipasika satta or perceptual reality is that which also depends upon the way you look at things. Not only dream. If I have a person who remotely looks like a person whom I don't like, I hate that person. While you love that person. Why? Perceptual. My past impressions, my thoughts, my memories, my experiences of the past makes me see a thing or project upon a thing which is not. So our entire life, morning till evening, birth to death, is between perceptual realities and transactional realities. Continuously we interact with them. While in the process, we totally forgot to understand absolute reality. That is where Vedanta and great masters come to tell us. Once you understand what is absolute reality, you don't reject the transactional or perceptual, you know them as temporary. Once you know them as temporary, you are not affected by it. When the sunrise, the winter and summer comes and goes, you adjust yourself to that. You don't complain too much because you know that it is temporary. That's why one person said that I am so happy. My happiness is because I never allow what I cannot control to control me.
Yeah, it's true.
Isn't it? What you cannot control? Weather outside. Do you allow it to control you? No, I have AC to control that. So what I cannot control, I continue. Let it be so. So with respect to the weather, we can understand that. That's why it's called weather. Weather that way, weather this way. So with respect to weather, we are able to adjust ourselves and wear the coat if it is too cold, and wear the t-shirt when walk away when it's warm. So we are able to adjust that. But the same thing we cannot do with behavior of the people. Can you control anybody's behavior here? Anybody's mind you can control? Can you control your own mind? Forget about others. What I cannot control, I don't allow it to bother me. So how to deal with transactional reality and pradibhasik satta, relative reality or perceptual reality, is to allow it, let it be. And that strength comes only when absolute reality is known. Otherwise, we will be bombarded by these two. And all frictions, all anger, all strain in relationship, all misunderstanding is on the perceptual reality. The way I look at it is not the way you look at it. Therefore, we are in tug of war. You know? What I consider as important, my wife doesn't. What I consider as relevant to my life, somebody else says that is foolishness. All the wars are also like that. The Russian perception is different from NATO perception. Goes on. Only when we recognize the absolute from that standpoint, we understand the play of this transactional and perceptual realities. We know their place. As much as you know the place of dream, you don't deny it, let it be. Upon waking up, you know it has no relevance. So too the world that we see here, samsara swapna tulyo hi ragat veshadi sankulaha. So sakale satyavad bhadi prabodhe sati asat bhavet. At the time when they are there, it appears to be so real. On waking up, asat. It's not. So, na sato vidyate bhavaha, na abhavo vidyate sadaha, ubayora vidrishtontaha tu anayo tattvadarshibhihi. This tattva darshanam is very important. To know the reality, absolute reality. Only when such a person knows that, he knows how to handle the so-called realities which everybody believes to be true. The Mahatma will smile away. He will not complain. He will not stop others. According to them, let it be so. Shifting the attention from Atman, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi said, to know this reality, you need necessarily the blessings of the one within you, but within all, apparently controlling everything that is happening. Ishvara sarva bhutana hrideshe Arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yandra arudhani mayaya. That very self itself is Ishvara. When he becomes the controller of everything through everyone, he becomes the Ishvara. The one in you, when he operates as one in everyone, then that one assumes the role of Ishvara. You are at home, husband, at work, boss. Cannot be otherwise. So outside in the office, you can control everybody. In the house, you have to be who you are. You'll be given your place. So at the same time, you are a person as well as a boss. You take that role. As soon as you walk into the office space, then you cannot anymore be that same person who was there in the house. You are a boss. You are able to control many things that are going on. In the same way, when you are recognize the self as the one reality within yourself, know that and abide in that. The moment you wake up to the world, you realize that same one working through everyone is Ishvara. That's why Krishna says there, Ishvara sarva bhutanam Hriddeshe tishtati. Brahmayan, making it happen, making the people go about, round about, go on doing their work. Sarva bhutani, yandra arudhani, as though positioned in a wheel of Maya, where each individual is engaging in the world according to his or her own tendencies, vasanas, desires, ambitions, goals. So you quietly accept how beautiful this Ishvara is working there. As the sun rising up, not rising up, as the sunshine, as the moon, as the wind, as the air, as the water, as the earth, as the fire, and all as the beings, various living beings. Each one is interdependent. All of them are interdependent for the survival. You enjoy seeing the hand of the Lord. Sarvada panipadam yad sarvada ukshachiromukam sarvada srudimalloke sarvam avritya tishtati. As the hands of everybody, heads of everybody, feet of everyone, mouth of everyone, face of everyone. So such a Mahatma, one who has realized that self alone is working as everything, he will see everyone's face as none other than expression of the same one. Therefore, he need not close his eyes with the world. He will enjoy the presence while interacting with everyone. All of them are the same expression, varieties of ways. That's why he finally concludes saying, Tameva sharanam kaccha sarva bhavena. So, doing your own work, whatever allotted work that you have got, do it as an offering to that Lord. This is the final in 18 chapters. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim. That if the very grace of that very one, supreme peace, shashvatam shanti, everlasting shanti, prapsyasi, you will. Vedanta therefore doesn't want you to escape from the world, move away from the world, reject the world, deny the world, shut down, but know how to handle it. And that is possible only when Ahamatma Kudakesh Sarvabhuta Shayastita. I am the self. I am a paramarthika satta. Only when I realize that, I know how to handle this transactional reality, apparently seen to be real through my senses and mind, etc. Also, I know how to handle the perceptual reality, meaning the one which is appearing to be so diverse, according to the views of every individual. And thereby, one lives in peace, in complete abidance in the self, at the same time finding total peace while living in this world. That is the Jivan Mukti Lakshana. Otherwise, no one has to escape. As soon as I know the reality, I have to escape from this world and run away from it. That is not the way Mahatmas live. So Sri Ramana Maharshi had demonstrated in his life how that kind of life is possible while teaching the people how to lead themselves to this. As you go deeper in yourself, you become more broad outside. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share the ideas.
Thank you.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkhamat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo